In this video, I'm going to be testing out new or new to me makeup, and I've got both high-end and affordable, including L'Oreal, Fenty Beauty, Charlotte Tilbury, Kiko Milano, and the new mascara by Sam Chapman. You'll see me apply all the products on my mature over 50 skin. We're going to do a 4-hour check-in and an all-day wear test, and we'll come back at the end of the day and see how the products have fared. Oh, and hello and welcome to my channel. My name's Des. I'm a 70-year-old woman who loves to talk about beauty, fashion and lifestyle for the over 50 woman. So without further ado, let's crack on with some new makeup products. So let me tell you why I chose these products first. Some of them were viewer suggested, some I chose because they're summery, and it is August as I film this, it's the 2nd of August. It doesn't feel very summery today, but we're hoping for better things. So let's start with our complexion, and the first product I want to show you is this L'Oreal BB cream. To give it its proper name, it's a magic BB cream 5-in-1 transforming skin perfector with vitamins B5 and E. Now this is quite an interesting product to me, partly because I've never used a BB cream. I have used a CC cream, I think, the It Cosmetics one back in the day, but I didn't really get on with it very well. But I thought I'd try this BB cream because it's one of those that adapts to the tone of your skin. Now it says that it hydrates, it smooths, gives a natural radiant finish. So it comes in 5 shades and I'm in the shade light, medium light. Now all the products I talk about will be listed and linked in the description box below and in the top comment as well for ease of reference. So this is around £10.99 I think, so it'll be slightly more in dollars. And you don't get a huge tube for that, but I don't think you need a lot of product. And one of the things I've really taken on board in my recent videos is I'm not using a lot of product because I've been told by many of my viewers that I overdo, particularly the complexion products. So I'm definitely not going to do that today. I'm going to be very careful. We can always add more, but we can't take away unless we wipe it all off. So let's apply a little bit. You've got a nice thin tube, which I quite like, so it makes application and not overdoing it much easier. So let's pop some on my hand like that. Now as you can see, it's white, but it's going to adapt to my skin colour any minute now as I apply it. So let's apply, and I'm just going to use my fingers. Now it does have a bit of it's not the most attractive of smells, but it is fragrance free, or at least it doesn't contain any fragrance, even though it's got a slightly weird smell. It certainly isn't a fragrance smell. It's not one you'd want to use in a perfume. It's kind of, I suppose is it medicinal? No, it's not even that. But it's just not terribly attractive. Now I did try and apply this with a brush and it didn't work at all. I should have pinned my hair back, sorry about that. Yes, it didn't work at all with a brush, so it's definitely something you need to use your fingers with. But in a way, I suppose it's a bit like applying a sun cream. That's what it smells like. It smells like sun cream. Now I'm using that old description because that's what it smells like. It's not like an SPF, because I don't think SPFs, or at least the ones I use, don't smell like this. But it smells like an old-fashioned sun cream. Now can you see it started to change the colour of my skin, or the tone of my skin as I apply it. I'll tell you what, let's rub it on my hand as well so you can see how it adapts to my skin tone. And I do think it's got quite a nice blurring effect. There, that's the hand with it, and that's the hand without. Right, quick check in the mirror. Have I applied enough? I think that looks like a really nice skin tint, don't you? And I think it does give a mattifying effect, even though it doesn't mention the word mattifying in the description. It actually says a natural radiant finish. There is a bit of radiance, I would say, around here. So yes, I'm pleased with that. So the key thing though will be, does it stay? Does it have staying power? Because it's so light, it might well disappear into my skin over time. So we'll see at the end of the day how it fares. So that's I was going to say skin tint. It's not a skin tint. That's the BB cream. Oh yes, the other thing I was going to say about BB creams and CC creams, actually, my understanding is that they were developed for people who had discoloration on their skin and wanted to disguise it. Now I have some discoloration, but it's not a major concern or anything. And I do think it has actually smoothed my skin and made any discoloration less obvious. So So I think so far it has lived up to its description. Now let's move on to concealer. Now I have actually had this concealer for a while and I have worn it in videos, but I haven't really talked about it. And I'd already planned to do this video today, but yesterday I was watching Angie Hot and Flashy and she used this very concealer, which I thought was really interesting. And she had a bit of an accident with it. The doe foot broke as she was doing it, so she had to go and get another doe foot. And I have to say the doe foot in this is quite difficult to get out of the bottle. It's obviously quite a big one for a very thin bottle. But anyway, let me tell you a bit about this. So this is the Haus Labs Triclone Concealer and Colour Corrector. And it comes in 30 shades. And I have it in the shade 11. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and follow a little bit of what Angie did yesterday and try not to over apply as usual. Can you see I have to pull it out quite firmly? I'll just get my little mirror so I can see what I'm doing, and I'm going to apply it as carefully as I can, not overdoing it, just in the dark areas there. I mean, I've got quite a lot of, not discoloration, but different shades and tones of things going on under there with veins and all of that. My dark circles aren't actually, well, I suppose they are there. My main concern is actually the eye bags now, I have to say, but I did have terrible dark circles from quite a young age. In fact, the first time I ever spotted them was when I finally got contact lenses, age 16, although they were those hard lenses, they were so uncomfortable. And I looked in the mirror and it was the first time I'd seen myself as a teenager without glasses on, and I was so shocked to see these really bad dark circles. Now I'm going to differ from Angie here and I'm going to let that settle a little bit. And what I'm going to do is apply an eyelid primer. Now this isn't a new product, this is the Milani eye primer, which I absolutely love. It's my holy grail. This was a viewer suggested product and it's so good. It's also very affordable. So I'm just going to pop a little bit on my finger there and then just apply it onto my lids because my lids are quite discoloured. And actually I shouldn't try and do two at once. I'm always trying to save time. Don't do that. Just do one at a time. You're not in a hurry. I have to tell myself this all the time. I don't know about you. Do you do that? Do you think, oh, I'll just rush the bits that I find a bit boring, like putting on eyelid primer? It's not the most exciting because it's not as creative, is it? But really you need to spend time doing the basics so that the other bits can shine. I think that's the lesson I need to learn. Now this concealer contains arnica and other skincare ingredients, and it's supposed to brighten, correct and cover. And I think for a concealer that contains skincare ingredients, it's actually better at covering than some others. Like for example, the Victoria Beckham that I wore in my last video, which I'll link down below if you haven't seen it. That is really so thin as to be almost non-existent. Whereas I think you can see that has given quite nice coverage. It has colour corrected a little bit. And you could probably add a little bit more if you wanted to, but I think that's a really nice finish. So let's do the other side. Sorry, you can hear the gulls. Those of you who know me know that I've moved to the seaside. And every now and again, we don't get a lot of gulls at this end of the village because we're a little bit inland. We're about 7 minutes walk from the sea. But there is the odd random gull that pops up now and again. They seem to like landing on roofs or car bonnets, actually. Now look, let me zoom you in just to see what you think of that, because I think that's really nice coverage, just right. There, what do you think? Yes, I'm very pleased with that. So that's the Haus Labs concealer. Now that, as I say, is not new. It's probably been around a couple of years, but I've never really talked about it before, so I thought it was worth mentioning. And given that Angie mentioned it yesterday, I thought that was quite a coincidence. And talking of Angie, I am going to do a little bit of powdering today, because I've noticed that in quite a few of my videos lately, I've been looking a little bit too glowy for my liking. So let's just add a tiny bit of powder. I'm going to use Angie's brush, but I don't use it as a concealer brush. This is her brush that she did in collaboration with BK Beauty. but I'm going to use it for powdering because I do find it quite useful because it's small. And I'm going to use the Hourglass translucent powder for that. It's one of the few products that I still got that I've hit pan on. So I must have liked it, but I haven't used it for a while. I'm rediscovering it. Now, when Angie was doing makeup yesterday, she used a loose powder, but I don't know, I don't mind loose powder, but I think today we are going to use a pressed powder, and I think I'll pop some on my lids as well, just to add to the mattifying effect of the eye primer. Just put a bit round here, there. So I think that's mattified things just a tad, just to make sure I'm not looking too glowy. Right, the next product. Yes, the next product, talking of powder, is I'm actually going to powder just a tiny bit, whatever's left on the brush, my eyebrows. Because I was watching my lovely friend Sandra Salin, who did a video about how she does her brows. This is, I think, Glam Girl Gabby's technique that she was doing. And I thought it was really interesting that she powdered the brows first because they tend to be a bit moist. Moist, she didn't use the word moist, but you know what I mean? They can be a little bit, oh, moist, I can't think of a better word. Sweaty? No, that's probably not good. But they tend to be a little bit less dry. That's what I want to say. Come on, Des, get on with it. They tend to be a little bit less dry. So sometimes using a pencil, particularly if it's waxy, can be tricky. Now, the brow pencil I'm going to use is by Fenty Beauty. And one of my lovely subscribers mentioned to me, because I said I wasn't going to do a full face of Fenty Beauty, which I had planned to do at one point, asked me why I hadn't. And it's because I didn't love all the products, particularly the complexion product, and I wasn't sure about this pencil, but I'm going to give it a go again. So this is the Fenty Beauty Brow MVP, not quite sure what MVP stands for. It comes in 13 shades, which is very inclusive. In fact, one of them is a red, which I think is really interesting. I think I'm in the shade, what shade am I in? I am in the shade, looks like 201. Anyway, my shades will be listed down below for you, like I say, with all the details. And what you've got is you've got a very thin pencil and it's retractable. These are the kind of pencils I'm not all that keen on because some of them have been known to break. But anyway, that's the pencil we've got. And then at the other end, we've got a really interesting brush. This is a much softer and tiny, tiny brush. Can you see how wee that is? And it's very soft. It's not as hard a brush as you normally get with brow products. So I really like that. It feels really nice and soft, a bit velvety. So I'm going to apply this as softly as I can so I don't make my brows look too harsh, Groucho Marx like. And we'll see whether we're getting anything. I'm having to press relatively hard, but we are getting something there, aren't we? Now, one of my eagle-eyed subscribers the other day asked me why I didn't do my left brow, or at least the tail of the brow. And I think it's because I sometimes forget, again, because I'm always rushing things. I suppose it's because I witter on and I think, oh, I must get to the point. And I sometimes forget, so I'm not going to forget today. Actually, I should have brushed the brow up first, but never mind, we'll do that afterwards. Now here I've got a gap. In fact, I'm trying to close that gap by using eyelash serum, my eyelash growth serum on my brows. I have done that before, but I haven't been very consistent, so I thought I'd give it another go. I think it's because, I can't remember, one of my lovely friends was talking about how it had worked for her. Right, I'm doing the tail, okay, I'm doing the tail. And then we'll get the brush end and we'll just brush them up like that. Make them look a bit fluffy. There. What do we think of that? Right, that's brows done, and actually it was fine. And it's not a bad shade, is it? It's fairly natural, it goes with my hair. Right, that's the brows done. Now let's go to Nars, and we're going to be trying out a couple of new to me anyway, and I think they're fairly new, eye sticks by Nars. And I've got two shades, Living Sin and Laguna, and of course Laguna is famous in Nars, isn't it, for having bronzers and all sorts of other products called Laguna. But I thought I'd give them a go because I do really like eye sticks now. I used to be quite against them, but I think it's because I chose matte colours, and I've discovered that very matte eye stick shades on my mature lids just don't look right. I think they need to have some kind of shimmer to them, and these both have shimmer, so let me swatch them for you. This one is, just put my glasses on. This one is Living Sin. This is Living Sin. Now this is the one that reminds me of Shroom by Victoria Beckham. And let me just show you what Shroom looks like, because if you've got Shroom already, you certainly won't need to get Living Sin, although they are slightly different. See, now that I've said that, that's actually a lot pinkier. I'm not very good at doing dupes, am I? I've had this before. I always think, oh yeah, that's very similar, but actually it isn't. It's a bit pinkier anyway. It's just to show you the difference, really. Just ignore me, ignore me. And then this one is Laguna, and this is a bit more bronzy. There, that's Laguna, and they are absolutely gorgeous. But the proof of the pudding will be, do they stay on my lids? Because my eyelids are naturally very oily, but because we've got the primer on, they should be fine. Now, what should we put on today? I think when I tried them out yesterday, I know what I did. When I tried them out yesterday, I did the lighter shade all over my lid, which is the Laguna, and then I came in with a little bit of the Living Sin just on the outer corner. So let's do that. So we'll just apply. Look at this gorgeous shade. It's so pretty. Very, very summery. Although, to be honest, you could also wear this in the autumn, couldn't you? Slightly autumnal shade. Oh, I'm talking myself out of it being summery now, aren't I? And that's all you need, really. To pop a bit over here on the other side. The other thing that's great about eye sticks is they're so travel friendly, aren't they? If you're on the go, you can just whip one out if you want to amp your makeup up a bit if you're going out somewhere. We just want to touch up. I mean, it's as simple as that. Now let's take the darker shade, which is the Living Sin, and we'll just smudge a little bit on the outer edge, just to give a bit of interest. And it is coming up a little bit. There is something there. Yeah, there we are. Just smudge that out a bit, just to have a bit of a play. The great thing about makeup is we can always take it off if it doesn't work, which is an absolute joy. It's not permanent. It's just there to be, it's just there to have fun with. Right, just to be on the safe side, I'm just going to blend this up a bit into the crease, just slightly. Right, what do we think of that? Now let's move on to this mascara. This is called Rum, and it's by Wrap Party. Wrap Party seems to be, I'm not quite sure whether that's the actual brand, but this is a collaboration between Sam Chapman, Sally Hughes and Jo Jones. Now, Sam Chapman, I'm sure you all know, was part of Pixie Woo, her and her sister, I've got her name now, Nicola, that's right, Nick. So Sam and Nick Chapman, they were Pixie Woo, now they've gone their separate ways, and they do makeup. I think they're very active on Instagram. And then Sally Hughes is a beauty journalist who's been in the beauty business for a long time, and Jo Jones is a friend of hers, and actually Sally and Jo started a charity about 10 years ago, I think, called Beauty Banks, which was a sort of adjunct to food banks here in the UK. So this is the mascara, and this is a tubing mascara. Now, I mentioned in my last video, or in a comment I think, that I was going to be trying this week, and one of my lovely subscribers asked if I would please show how I remove this mascara, or remove a tubing mascara, because there is a bit of a technique to it. So after I've applied this, I will run some footage of me removing it, because there is a method to it, I think, which it took me a little while to get used to. But the advantage of a tubing mascara is that the idea of it anyways, it's not supposed to flake, it's not supposed to run. You can wear it on your bottom lashes and it won't smudge. So this is it. It's a very light brush. It feels very light, this product, and it's a very thin brush. And I have been trying it for the last 3 days, and so far so good, but let's see how we get on today. So it's 3 days old, just so as you know, because sometimes mascaras do take maybe a couple of weeks to get into their stride, don't they? But this one seems to have got into its stride fairly quickly. So let's apply it. Now, the last mascara I tried, I also really liked, even though it wasn't actually a tubing mascara, it was just a regular one, and that was the Jones Road. But the other thing about tubing mascaras, I think, is you do get length, but you don't get so much volume. And that's kind of what I'm after these days. I've sort of gone off the Va-Va-Voom thick black lash look. I seem to have gone to a more pared down, fluttery, but not overly thick look. So let's do this side. Now what's interesting is there's not a lot of product evident on the brush. So I'm not quite sure whether you're actually getting anything on. Oh, actually there is a tiny bit at the end. I can see it's now come off on my lid a little bit, but we'll wipe that off in a sec. Right, that's one coat. I can see that I've got some mascara on this lid, so let me just remove that and then we'll do another coat. Right, let's put another coat on, see how it is with 2 coats. So we've got slight clumping on that side, but nothing to write home about. I actually don't mind a bit of clumping as long as it's not too evident. So let's put a little bit on the lower lashes as well. Years ago, I used to use MAC's Giga Black mascara on my bottom lashes. And actually one of my lovely subscribers said that she uses a tubing mascara first and then puts a regular mascara on the top, which is interesting. I haven't tried that yet, but I might. And here's a quick clip of me removing the mascara. So what I do is I get my microfiber cloth, I run it under the warm tap, and then I gently rub my eyes. I don't use any oil or any makeup remover at all. It's literally just warm, bordering on hot water, and the microfiber cloth, and I gently rub until all the fibres that have coated the eyelashes are removed, and then I can go on with the rest of my makeup removal. Right, that's the mascara done. Now let's come to cheeks. And in a recent video I did use, although I didn't really talk about it too much, the Charlotte Tilbury Unreal Healthy Glow Stick, and I have it in the shade Rosy Glow. Now I mention this because it did remind me of the Westman Atelier blush stick in Doudou. So I thought I'd compare and contrast them. Now actually what we're going to do is we're going to compare and contrast this with another product, because I'm going to show you this, and again, this is me getting it all wrong. It isn't that similar to this, but let me just show you. So that's the Unreal Skin Charlotte Tilbury Rosy Glow Stick. And this is the Westman Atelier in Doudou. So it's actually a lot deeper shade, the Westman Atelier, and it doesn't have the glow that the Charlotte Tilbury has. But there was something about the sticks that kind of made me think of this one when I bought this one. Anyway, there you go. This one is definitely more matte, and it's probably more of a winter shade. It is beautiful, but it's not the same at all. However, the Fenty Beauty Matchstix in Strawberry Pop, and actually this is the only shade because it adapts to your skin, I think is similar. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to test one against the other. So this is the Fenty Beauty. So it's a slightly different shade from the Charlotte Tilbury, but not that dissimilar. So we'll put the Fenty on this side and the Charlotte Tilbury on this side, and let's see how they both fare. So I'm going to use my fingers as well to smooth them out. So we're just going to do a couple of swipes, 3 swipes of the Fenty. And we'll do the same with the Charlotte. And then let us smooth them out. I mean, my normal modus operandi actually is to use my damp beauty sponge, but I think I'm taking too much product off when I do this. So let's try with my fingers first, and then if I need to adjust it, I'll use my damp beauty sponge. So let's use our fingers. See, I think that's smoothing out quite nicely. Let's have a look. Oh, I can see a little bit of mascara fall out there. Hold on. Hold on, hold on. Let me get rid of that. Oh, there we are. That's better. Yeah, I think that's looking quite good. So let's do the same on the other side. Yeah, there's a little bit more product on there, isn't there? This is the Charlotte side, isn't it? I think the Charlotte side, or the Charlotte product, is a little bit more intense, isn't it, than the Fenty. We might have to use our damp beauty sponge. I don't know though, actually. I think that's all right. I'll have a final check at the end of the makeup. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. So that's the two blushes. Now I'm not going to use a bronzer today. I think we'll leave the bronzers out because I don't have a new bronzer. So let's just crack on with lips. Now the products I'm going to show you today before I put my lip pencil on, which isn't new, are this Kiko Milano 3D Hydra lip oil. Why it's called 3D, I don't know. Now the reason I bought this is I was looking for a lip oil that was affordable, and Kiko Milano is quite affordable. It's not super affordable, but it's in the kind of lower mid-price range, I would say, that didn't contain fragrance, because if you're new to my channel, I am allergic to fragrance. It comes in 4 shades. Actually, I'm running out of arm. Let's pop it over here. Probably won't come up terribly well, but it's a kind of peachy golden shade. Not that dissimilar to the Laguna in a way. It's a beautiful shade and really pretty and very comfortable on the lips. And I'll show you that in a sec. And the two other lip products I wanted to show you, the two Fenty's. Now I have worn these in recent videos, but I wanted to swatch them for you and show you how beautiful they are. So they're called the Gloss Bomb Sticks. And I've got them in the shades Blazin Donut and Is It Fussy. So this is It Fussy. They have a fantastic scent as well. Even though they're unfragranced, they do smell sort of quite watermelony. So that is It Fussy. And this is Blazin Donut, which is lighter. This is quite, when I wear this, I always think of French, sophisticated French women. That's it there. They are absolutely stunning and really fantastic for the summer. I really love them. So let me first show you the Kiko Milano, and I'm just going to apply, this is the Charlotte Tilbury lip pencil in Pillow Talk. I really need a new lip pencil. I used to have a very nice Rosy lip pencil by Victoria Beckham, but I cannot find it. I hope I didn't lose it in the move. Right, let's put on the lip oil by Kiko Milano first. That really does feel lovely on the lips. So that is the Kiko Milano lip oil. Right, let me take that off and I'll show you the two Fenty's. Right, let's go first with Is It Fussy. That's Is It Fussy. And this is Blazin Donut, the one that one of my wonderful loyal subscribers recommended to me. The one that's giving me French vibes. This is Blazin Donut. Now, I wanted to talk about this setting spray. I've always been really bad at forgetting to use a setting spray, and I've had a couple in the past. I've had an e.l.f. which was very good, and I also had the classic All Nighter by Urban Decay. But this is really lovely, and I did use this in a video. I think it was my wedding makeup video. So it says it locks in makeup, and I think it does help. So let's see if it's going to lock this one in today. As I said before, the weather's not very summery. It does feel very, very nice indeed. And there's no fragrance, which of course is very important to me. So if you're after a setting spray with no fragrance in it, this might be just the thing for you. Right, there we are. I'm going to come back in 4 hours and then I'm going to come back again at the end of the day and we'll see how the makeup's fared. I'll also go out in natural light and show you how it's looking, and then we'll come back and have a chat at the end of the day and see how everything has fared. Don't go away. Now this is just after I'd applied all the makeup and the lipstick isn't showing all that well on camera, but everything else looks pretty good. And then here we are at the 4-hour check-in where the lip product has definitely come right off, but everything else is looking pretty good. Okay, here we are at the 4-hour check-in, and apart from not having any lip tint on or lip balm, I think the makeup's looking pretty good. The only thing is there has been a tiny bit, in fact more than a tiny bit probably, of fallout from the mascara here. Nothing, maybe a speck here. Actually, I'm being unfair. There's 3 specks here and 2 specks there. Now, given I put mascara on my bottom lashes and not everybody wants to do that, that may account for it. And I've been out, I've been for a walk into town and it's a little bit windy, so is that an excuse? I don't know. Anyway, apart from that, I think we've still got the blush on both sides, which is really good. This was the Fenty side, wasn't it? And this was the Charlotte side. I think the Fenty's got slightly more pigment left in it than the Charlotte, but it's still pretty good. The skin tint, I keep calling it the skin tint, the BB cream, I feel like I've still got the BB cream on my complexion. I think it's still looking good. And let's check the eyelid. This is the oiliest of the 2 eyelids, so there's slightly less product left on this lid than there is that lid, but otherwise I think they're looking pretty good. So that's the 4-hour check-in. I'll be back in 5 to 6 hours time for a final check-in, a roundup of all the products and my thoughts on them. See you in a bit. Don't go away. So here we are at the 9.5 hour end of the day check-in, and let's see how the products have fared. Now at first glance I think everything but the lipstick has lasted really well, because I can still see some blush on my cheeks. I would say this side, which I think is the Fenty side, has fared better than the Charlotte Tilbury, which is what I thought it would do because it's got more pigment in it somehow, and maybe because it's a product that reacts with your skin. That makes a difference. I'm not really sure, but I think they both have performed well. I think actually the BB cream has done really well, given that it's a very light product. I definitely think I've got some complexion product on my skin, so I do think it's worn well. I don't know whether the Fenty Beauty setting spray had anything to do with it, but it's certainly done well. Let's have a check on the eyelids. Yes, it's as I thought. This lid has not performed as well as this lid, and it is odd, isn't it? Because I used exactly the same primer on both lids. However, that's a lesson for me that maybe I need to be a little bit more careful with the primer and also with the stick on this lid. But I think it's worn off gently. It doesn't look too drastically different from this lid. Now the mascara looks exactly the same as it did, I think, 4 or 5 hours ago. So we've had, I think, 1 speck here and 3 specks there. But like I said earlier, that may have something to do with me putting mascara on my bottom lashes. So maybe it's just something to be mindful of. But otherwise, I think it has performed well. My lashes certainly look long and lifted, but actually I have to say it does remind me a lot of the Jones Road mascara that I tried last week. I would say it's actually quite similar, even though it's not similar in terms of the actual product, because it's a very light wand. The whole thing feels very light, but I think the price is about the same as well. Maybe the Jones Road is slightly more. And as you saw in the clip, it's easy to remove. Now the lip products, of course, don't stay on the lips, but they're not really meant to. We've got a lip oil, we've got the Fenty Gloss Bomb. Neither of them are really meant to be long wear lip products, but that's fine because they're really the sort of products that you are going to reapply throughout the day. So I just really love the products, and I would say that all the products I've used today I will definitely continue to use. Of course the mascara is new to me and it's only day 3, so I'll keep trying it, but at the moment I'm not thinking that it's the best mascara I've ever tried. And I'll be really interested to hear what other reviews have said about it, because I haven't actually watched any because it's so new. I think it only came out a couple of weeks ago, and usually I don't get my hands on a product that new that quickly, so I'm delighted it arrived at my new address so quickly. So that's my verdict really. I think they're all lovely products. I think they're all great summery products, and I've really enjoyed using them, and I will continue to use them throughout the summer. So let me know in the comments what you think. The one thing I would say is that they're all quite light products, maybe not the eye stick so much, but the look that I seem to be achieving with them is quite a light, summery look. It's not something that I would probably go for in the winter or even in the autumn. I'd want something a little bit more meaty, a little bit more, with a little bit more oomph. This is all quite sort of pale and, well, maybe not the cheeks, but it's all kind of pale and interesting. I don't know, what am I on about? Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think. That's the most important thing, and let's have a chat about it. So that's it. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel before you leave if you haven't already. And if you want to hear more from me, I have a bi-monthly newsletter, which I have to say has not been bi-monthly of late, but it will go back to being bi-monthly very soon. And in that, I don't just talk about makeup, I talk about skincare, fashion, other content creators, music, books, podcasts, and all the other bits and bobs that bring us joy. And thank you so much for watching. It means the absolute world to me. It really does. And I hope you're all doing really well. And I look forward to seeing you on my next video. Bye.